So, next little tidbit I want to look at is this news that Disney, almighty Disney, is really trying to expand their Star Wars portfolio, specifically within the video game space, which makes sense because video games can make tons of money. Disney loves money, and there is a huge amount of possibility for increased revenue if they can manage it. Right now, their goal is to release a new Star Wars game every 6 months. That's insane. Leesky, yes. Happy early birthday. Have a wonderful birthday, Leesky. Appreciate you. It's good to see you in here, by the way. So far, 8 Star Wars titles have been announced to be in development, many of which do not have a scheduled release date yet. Amy Hennig, she's one of the original founders and creators of the Uncharted series. Kind of cool. She's working on something at Skydance Media. Untitled first-person shooter at Respawn. Same guys we all know and love. Open world game, Ubisoft Massive. Who knows what that's going to be. We've heard like a couple of little things here and there. Not much. Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dream. This one's really interesting to me because I love Quantic Dream stuff. So I don't know what that looks like, but it's really interesting that they decided to make it to begin with. So interesting. Knights of the Old Republic remake by Saber. Who knows if we'll ever get that. Jedi Survivor, which is the Fallen Order sequel, also from Respawn. Same guys behind Apex. I'm sure it's going to be great. Star Wars Hunters by Zynga. I think that's a mobile game, I'm assuming, because it's Zynga. And then Untitled strategy game, also from Respawn. I just like that Apex has been so successful that EA is literally like, Respawn, do whatever the hell you want. We'll give you endless money. Just make us rich. And clearly 1, 2, 3 different Star Wars games. Like that's a pretty baller move. So some of the already 8 announced titles are believed to be sometime away from release. In fact, some of these titles are believed to be at least 4 years away. Quantic Dream Star Wars Eclipse seems to be such a title. Sources citing that the game will be a development nightmare for the studio. Issues mainly stem from Quantic Dream's engine, which is apparently inadequate for such a large-scale project. Such problems have led sources to believe that Eclipse probably won't release until 2026. That's crazy, man. When was Detroit Become Human? Wasn't that like 2019? 2019 sounds right. It's just fascinating because I think most of us agree that Star Wars has been very underutilized by EA so far. And like they had Battlefront 1, which was Battlefront 2, which was one of the most disastrous launches of 2017. It was filled to the brim with loot boxes and stuff that most people considered gambling. It was so bad that Disney officially came out and said, stop it. What are you doing? And that's bad when Disney is like, you guys are being greedy. When Disney tells you to be greedy, that's like Satan telling you, hey man, be nice, be nicer. You're being really mean right now. It's bad when Disney tells you that. So it's been very underutilized. The exception, and I think the one game that's been really, really well received was, of course, Jedi Fallen Order. I thought that was pretty solid. I had tons of bugs and issues with it, but I thought as far as like an EA Star Wars game, it was tremendous, way better than I expected it to be. I've heard the Battlefront 2 rebound, it has been remarkable. That is true. I have not tried Battlefront 2 since probably 2020, around there. I popped in and tried it. I also just don't love third person like shooters, multiplayer shooters that much anymore. Apex has like spoiled me pretty much, but I've heard good things. I guess you could also say Star Wars Squadrons was also pretty successful too. I think a lot of people loved Squadrons as well. So they've had a couple of successes and a couple of good outings, but they haven't had like what you would expect, which is just a swath of crazy successful releases all in the Star Wars field. Like it's just surprising that they haven't really capitalized on that franchise because it costs them a lot of money to keep it exclusive. So now they seem to be working hard to get it under control. And what also strikes me is just how different these games seem to be. Amy Hennig seems to be a very narrative game, similar to Uncharted. Respawn, first person shooter, Star Wars first person shooter, probably a multiplayer game. Interesting. I'm down for that. Ubisoft Massive, an open world Ubisoft style game, but in the Star Wars universe. That's also compelling and interesting. Very different from the others. Star Wars Eclipse. These guys specialize in like branching quick time event, like choose your own adventure games. That's fascinating. That's very different. Remake of an old beloved title. That's different. Jedi Fallen Order, also third person, very much inspired by FromSoft games. Very interesting. A mobile game, whatever. And then a strategy game by Respawn. Every single one of these is totally different from the previous, and they're all just little bits different, and they tweak them, and they appeal to different demographics. And this is exactly what you need to, I think, capitalize on a franchise like this. Like, you've got to just be able to throw out enough stuff that everybody feels like they're getting the best part of it. It's like the video that went up earlier that I collabed with Joraptor on, where we talked about this new Assassin's Creed news and how Ubisoft claims they are trying very hard to like focus on smaller groups of people, not appealing to everybody, not pretending like every single person is going to be satisfied by the game. Instead, focusing on a few people that will love the game and will play it for years, and then focusing on the next game, appealing to the other people that didn't get to love that game. And that's how you should do it. Like, if you want fans of your game, you have to appeal to the niche, and then you hopefully just have enough games that appeal to different niches that everybody ends up happy because they all have their own thing. And it seems like that's their modus operandi now. And it's good to see, because this works way better than trying to turn every game into, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. So it's interesting. It's interesting. But this is as diversified a portfolio as you could possibly get. Billiam, Amy Hennig, original creator of Uncharted. So she has a history in like cinematic narrative games. So it's cool to see that she's getting her chance at that.